Hello there, my name is Enoch. Taking care of your health should be a top priority. Looking at the various engagements that we have today, it is so easy to forget about our health, mental well-being. That is why we introduce to you the Healthy You Talk Show, a brand new show that is going to address matters concerning your health, nutrition, stress management, mental health, name it. We bring to you a wide range of experts who are going to be touching pertinent issues concerning our health. Tune in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. live on Faith Today TV.
Mountain Moving Faith. This is my latest book. And if you want to learn how you can move mountains, life has many mountains. While this journey, you will encounter mountains and you wonder, how can I move mountains? This is a book to read. And it took me time to research, to pray, and to wait on God and look at the scriptures and what Jesus talked about moving mountains. And this book is quite a story, it's quite an inspiration. It is quite something that will change your life. So order your copy today. We can send it to you wherever you are in this country. We will be able to send this book to you on Mountain Moving Faith. Call that number or send a message and our team will be able to ship it to you wherever you are. There's a book to read. You can also buy for your friend, for a family as a gift. And I have no doubt they will thank you and that they will be always thankful for what you have done for them. So God bless you as you read this book, Mountain Moving Faith.
Welcome to Kingdom Business Network. We are so much excited that you are watching us today. We don't take it for granted. We actually look forward to having this conversation with you. We want you to be on top of your finances. We want you to be on top of your business. We want you to make investment decisions that are going to be prudent and have a long-lasting positive effect. We've been discussing on mastering your finances with Mr. Tony Alang, and today we are going to continue and pick up from where we left and talk about planning for retirement the right way. Yes, there's the right way of planning for retirement. You might be there and you're young and you're wondering, man of God or doctor, I don't know how you call me, is there a right way in planning for retirement? Is there a right way? As a young person, I want to tell you, these are things that you need to actually look at and plan far ahead of time. You need to be intentional about it. You need to have planned about it so that when you are old like us, it does not take you by surprise that you are on the right track. So I don't want you to reach our age and you find yourself on the wrong wall. Might be you've been on the radar of success and you reach the top and you realize you are hanging on the wrong wall. We want you to make prudent decisions, be intentional about it, have planned about them, and by the time you are old, then you will have made the right decision and you can see the fruits. And to help us unpack that, planning for retirement the right way, is Tony Alang. On my immediate right, Tony, welcome, and you can introduce yourself to the viewer.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you today. and I'm looking forward to discussing planning for retirement. Thank you very much.
Okay, how has the week been?
Oh, it's been lovely.
Okay.
A little hot, no?
Very, very hot.
Yes.
You call it a little. It's extremely hot. It's been extremely hot.
Yes.
Welcome my co-host, Victoriana Alwang'a. You can also introduce the topic and introduce yourself also.
Thank you, Dr. Mungai, and to our guests, welcome once again, Tony. And to our viewers, welcome once again to the Kingdom Business Network show. It is always a pleasure having you watching us. And I hope that you keep learning and growing yourself financially with all the takeaways in this place. As you've heard, my name is Victoriana Alwang'a, your co-host on the Kingdom Business Network. And today's topic is a very hot one, as you've heard, planning for retirement the right way. I know some of you out there, you are young and you think that this is not something for you, but I can assure you that you're in the right place today. You're going to get a lot of insights so that you can plan yourself properly. And I remember when we started this segment on mastering your finances, we were told that one of the ways you can make your money work for you is through pleasure or leisure. And our guest here had talked about going on vacation maybe during retirement. And I think that's one of those things you should be looking at even as you plan for your retirement. So stay tuned, keep liking, keep sharing, subscribe, and make sure your friends get to see this episode. Thank you.
So as we engage Tony on this topic, please remember to like, share, comment on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and also on YouTube. And also at the same time, please send your questions on WhatsApp. There's a number there. We want to address your question because we are here for you. We want to ensure that the questions you've been harboring in your mind is addressed by the guests that we bring on this program. If that is done, then we are happy that we've done our job. So, Tony, what is retirement and what does it truly mean?
Thank you for having me in the show. And I think we can say retirement is the time in your life when you'll be able to do what you have always wanted to do. So it will get to a point in your life when you have a separation from your current engagement or your current employer, and you'll then have all the time. You wake up in the morning and then just get to do what you have always wanted to do. Yes. Mm.
So there comes a time that you'll have all the time in the world.
Oh, yes.
First of all, is it advisable to be idle when you are old? I'm asking that because I remember my father telling me, you work until you die.
You've actually asked me several questions at the same time. I can hear you talking about idleness,
yes,
and working and until you die. So I'll break it into two broad questions.
Mm.
So we all know that an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be unfortunate if you ended up having an idle mind in, your retirement age, mm-hmm, or during your retirement.
Mm.
So what is it that you have always wanted to do, mm-hmm, in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Have you wanted to travel, as Victoriana was saying? Do you want to experience the world?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to experience your country?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go beyond your local village?
Mm-hmm.
This is the time you'll be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Are there little projects that you wanted to do?
Mm-hmm.
Probably like raising a cow,
mm-hmm,
growing some exotic fruit trees.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done some homework on these things?
Mm-hmm.
Had you already started doing it in, little bits and pieces?
Mm-hmm.
This is now the time you can explore. You can really delve into that exploration that you've always been dreaming about.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that you couldn't do because you had to wake up, jump into your car, into a matatu, and run to your employer's office.
Mm-hmm.
Now you'll be waking up in the morning and you just have yourself to report to.
Mm-hmm.
So as you report to yourself, what will you be doing? Mm-hmm. So these are the opportunities to then now get down to doing that. Then there was a second question on working until you die.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't learn how to make money while you sleep, mm-hmm, you are definitely going to work until you die.
Okay.
And we've talked about it in Eeney, Meeney, Money and More.
Mm.
So you need to start learning how to make money while you sleep.
Mm.
And part of what we are going to be discussing today is how to save for that moment in your life when you'll be in retirement. So we are trying to ensure that we are not idle, and we are also trying to ensure that we are not going to have to work until we die. Our money is going to be working for us. Yeah.
Now, this story of retirement, should we start thinking about it when we are 50 years, or do we start at the age of 20? Even when do we start?
Yes. In one other show I appeared in, I said that you should start saving or planning for retirement yesterday. The truth is, if you are in employment or you have a gainful source of engagement right now, you should begin planning and saving for your retirement with what you have right now. Because there's something called procrastination. And procrastination is stealing both time and money from you. So immediately you start earning some money, please spare a portion of that money as saving for retirement. Yes.
Let's turn to Victoriana. Victoriana, you are a Gen Z. I'm a Gen Alpha.
Gen Z.
Okay, Gen Alpha, the ones
young.
very young, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, now with the ladies you have to be careful. Unaweza wapeleka the hapo anashindwa, unaona kama ni mzee sana. Now, how does Gen Z take retirement? I mean, what's their reasoning like? It doesn't have to be you, but when you talk to them, how do they view retirement? Do they feel like it's something they need to think about today, or do they think it's something that they'll have to think when they reach a certain age, might be 30, 40, 50? Do they still think life is for the living, you live today, the best today, and forget about tomorrow, it will take care of itself? What's the thinking like out there?
You see, with the Gen Z, they have this mentality of YOLO, you only live once.
Yeah.
So they're out there partying, they're out there having fun, and they're living for the moment. That is the mentality with the current generation. So even finding most of them in this cohort thinking about retirement, it's not something that you'd find them talking about a lot. But I believe it's a discussion that is suitable for them if they just got to a point of understanding that they can still live even when they are older, then that would really be beneficial for this generation. Yeah.
So Tony,
Yes.
there's a Gen Z listening to us,
Yes.
and he's living for the moment.
Okay.
And he's even wondering, you're telling me about retirement, and I should be looking for a job first, then enjoying myself, and then we can meet after 20 years and we can revisit.
Yes.
What is your advice to this Gen Z?
So I'll probably start by summarizing again that there are 5 broad things you can do with money. Number 1, you can buy things. Number 2, you can pay for services. Number 3, you can pay for the experiences that Victoriana is telling us about. Number 4, you can donate or give away this money. And number 5, we are talking about saving and investing. So as our Gen Z brothers and sisters are considering what to do with their money, these 5 broad items highlight what they can do with money. As they go about doing what they are doing, the question is the money that they are earning also getting an opportunity to grow, or is it being given an opportunity to multiply? We also talked about the parable of the talents. There was the gentleman who was given 1 talent, the other one who was given 2, and the other one who was given 5. So when we come to revisit after 20 years, we'll be reviewing the parable of the talents.
Yes.
We all got an opportunity to earn some money. We made some income. We all did different things with it. When we are called to account for the money we have earned, and there's a whole chapter in this book titled, Where Did the Money Go? you will be asking yourself that question. You'll be seeing a nice car there. You'll be remembering things you did, you know, and subtle things creep in and eat your money. 2 days ago, I was sitting with a friend of mine, and I mentioned to him that these things are part of your lifestyle. It's a philosophy. And I was explaining to him that if you spend 10,000 shillings every Friday on a nice whiskey, by the end of the year, you'll have spent 520,000 shillings on whiskey alone.
It's not nice whiskey, it's fine whiskey.
On a mature, very fine and mature whiskey. Thank you for the correction.
I know you don't drink. Not that I do, but I know.
I think you can fix that from my submission.
Yeah.
So if you're spending 10,000 shillings every Friday on this fine whiskey, that is 520,000 shillings that when you ask yourself, where did my money go? You'll be able to see 520,000. So I think we can open the discussion on that front by saying these are the 5 things you can do with money, and it helps to build a philosophy around working towards making money while you sleep.
Okay. So is retirement only for people in employment, or should business owners plan too?
We can say retirement is that time in your life when you want to extend an appreciation to yourself. You also want to sit down and watch the bees, you know, flying from one flower to the next. We are running around. Life is taking us very fast. But now when you get to 60, you want to slow down and appreciate things. This paying for experiences that we talked about. Why can't you travel from one county to another one? Why can't you travel from one country to another one? There are beautiful places in Tanzania, in Uganda, in Mozambique, in Zimbabwe. These are places we are only seeing in maps. Why don't you take an opportunity and say that in your list of 500, which we were saying in chapter 1, what do you want? You're looking towards, you have an aspiration towards certain things. In your retirement, what are you looking forward to? Are you planning? Unajipanga ama unangoja kupangwa? Yes. That is really what I can say, because we are making money. And the other day we saw people, when after getting your salary, you're very energetic for 2 days. Yeah. And then after day 2, you're miserable. You're absolutely miserable. You know, people even think you are sick because you couldn't plan and organize your money. So let's just develop a good philosophy that the little we make, we can plan and work with it so that it can enable us to become better people. Yes.
I know before the discussion I was giving a story of my experiences in Nairobi.
Yes. And
come the end of the month when people have been paid, there's even no parking in Nairobi CBD, and all our roads and highways are all packed with cars. Come 7 days later, vehicles have reduced. Come 15th, they hardly in a vehicle. You can go to town in 15 minutes. A place which was taking you 2 hours when people have a salary, you know?
Yes.
And I started wondering, this kind of money, hii inaisha na siku mbili.
2 days.
2 days. Really, is it because pesa is kidogo, or is it because of the people are not planning, or they are investing on the wrong things?
It might be a combination of many things.
Yes.
Maybe we are also trying to do more than our incomes can allow us to do. And then, like we are saying, for the 2 days, we are so vibrant.
Yes.
And then thereafter, you're miserable. Yeah, you become even lethargic. You can't wake up because the money is finished.
There's a friend of mine alikuwa ananiambia, once you get paid and you have money, lazima kitu moja kiishe ndio kuwe na. So the guy, we had to make sure that the money is finished so that he can settle. And those people still exist.
The philosophy you're bringing in, I heard it somewhere also from another friend of mine. He used to say that either the money is in and I'm out,
Yes.
or I'm out and the money is
Is
in.
in, yes.
So why are we having this battle with money? Let the money not create too much excitement. Let it come and do what it needs to do and leave us as better people.
There's a friend of mine, I happen to have been his boss, name withheld. And on the day we employed him, the day he got his first salary after we employed him, we were in the same car going to do sales. And I don't know, he got the text that pesa imekuwa kwa account. And we are driving from from Roresho to town, and then we had reached just near Westlands.
Yeah.
And I think the guy, that time we were using pagers, you know, pagers, like the doctor pagers, eh? So the pager indicated from HR, mshahara imefika. So the guy told me, please, can you just stop in Westlands? Kuna kitu nataka kufanya. Little did I know that he wants to go and withdraw the salary and buy the thing he had always cherished. And what was that? A Black Forest cake. So mshahara yake ya kwanza bought a Black Forest cake. Yeah? Akakuja na mbili akaniambia, hey boss, akitumelipwa. So when you're talking of retirement, on a serious note, what advice do you have to people who are planning for retirement? When should they think about retirement? What is the ideal retirement age? You know, is there something like an ideal retirement age and starting to think about retirement?
I think it's more about you as a person. There are people who have the aspiration to retire at 40. We, however, see most organizations providing for normal retirement at 60. There are other organizations that appreciate more mature staff and will allow for normal retirement at 70. And most of these organizations also provide for early retirement at 50. So if you look at most pension schemes and most retirement arrangements, those are the ages that we see. Early retirement at 50, normal retirement at 60, some 55, and then a few will give normal retirement extensions up to 70.
So let's go to the mechanics of planning for retirement. What are the things you need to do? How much should you save? And how do you go about it?
We have an example which we have been citing, and it is always advisable to start as early as possible. So we have this example we have been talking about, which has been presented in Eeney, Meeney, Money and More, of someone who was able to save 10,000 shillings per month in a fund that was earning 10% per annum. And he did this, or she did this, for 30 good years. And the amount that had accumulated in that fund is 22 million shillings. The capital that they had put in, this 10,000, the actual capital was 3.6 million shillings only. And everything between the 22 million and the 3.6 million was the effect or the product or the result of compound interests. And compounding works best over extended periods of time. When you analyze that example we have just presented, it shows that the benefit of interest has even brought you more than you put in yourself, which means that your capital or your money has worked for you. And this is the money that you will now be able to rely on at the point when you want to access it. What then happens is, if you're fortunate to have been participating in an employer pension scheme, most employer schemes will either match or double what you are putting in. So look at a situation like for this gentle person we've talked about, where he or she is putting 10,000. It means the employer is either putting 10,000 or even 20,000 over and above what they are putting in. So what we had talked about being 22 million will actually now be 44 million. Or even more if the employer was doubling. It would now be triple, it would be 66 million. So these numbers are very achievable if given the benefit of an extended period of time. If you try and start rushing later, closer to retirement, then you'll find yourself squeezing yourself to an extent where the benefit of that saving for retirement may actually not be as sweet as it should have been. Yes.
We have people who have the benefit of actually being employed, and the employer has got a retirement benefit scheme.
Yes.
But there's also the people who are out there who are self-employed, who don't have that benefit.
Yes.
How should they go about savings? Do they need to look for a scheme, or do they put in, how do they go about it?
For our brothers and sisters who are in the informal sector or are not part of an employer arrangement, it's always wise to identify what we call an individual pension plan. This is an umbrella scheme that will then be able to pool the benefit of everything that a pension scheme can provide you without you meeting all those costs on your own. So the individual pension plan will allow you to have access to a vehicle that will then guide you and give you the opportunity to contribute consistently and diligently towards this objective of a retirement income. Yes.
Now, let's come back to the people who already have a scheme run by their employer.
Yes.
Are you suggesting or saying that once they have enrolled in this and they are contributing, that is enough for their retirement, or should they also have something else running for retirement in addition to the scheme?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. If you see the cover of this book, I don't know if you can see it from the Zoom, what we are actually proposing here is that people should develop the ability to save up to 70% of their income.
70%.
70%. And we had even touched on how you can do this by either expanding your income, contracting your expenses, or a blend of the two. So if your employer is already giving you, or you are already contributing 10% to your pension scheme, there is still the opportunity for the other 60%. So the pension scheme allows you to do something which is called additional voluntary contributions. So over and above the 10% we were talking about, you can still contribute more into this same vehicle that we are calling a retirement benefit scheme or a pension scheme. And then you can also do your own personal investments outside the pension scheme to cater for all the other things that we had talked about in chapter 1 where we were listing what we want, because chapter 1 was titled, What Do You Want? So there's still a lot of latitude for you to save and invest over and above what is happening in the pension scheme.
Okay.
Yes.
So coming to pension schemes, how are they regulated? What is available out there in the Kenyan market? Just before we take a break.
So all pension schemes in Kenya are operating under the ambit, the supervision, or the regulation of the Retirement Benefits Authority. So they are required every quarter to submit certain reports to the regulator. And the regulator is continuously monitoring how whatever contributions are going in are being managed, how they are being invested, and how the member records are being kept to ensure that when the members get to the point where they want to access this money, they then have access to what they have saved for retirement. Yes, and even if you visit the RBA website or the Retirement Benefits Authority website, you'll be able to see a list of all the registered pension schemes. It is there. So all this information is actually available to us. It's in plain sight. You just need to know where to look for it. And for those who want to check if the employer scheme is registered, you should be able to see it there. And for those who are searching for an individual pension plan, you'll also be able to see the list or the schedule of all those registered individual pension plans.
Thank you very much, Tony. My dear viewer, we are going to take a short break, very short, 2 minutes or so. And then we are going to come back. And most importantly, in the second section of this program, we want to answer your questions. So please make sure that you send those questions in now, because we want to address your concerns on anything retirement. Tony will take those questions head on, and I know you'll leave this place satisfied and umejipanga. God bless you. Let's take that short break.
Okay, asante. Nilikisajili kitabu ambacho kinaitwa 7 Keys to Success, ama kuna kanuni funguo 7 if you like it, ambazo zitakuletea ushindi na kufaulu maishani. Wote, wewe na mimi, tunataka kufaulu, lakini pia kuna njia ya kufaulu. Ukisoma hiki kitabu ambacho nilikiandika kwa kufanya utafiti, kwa maombi mengi, kuangalia neno la Mungu, I have no doubt ya kwamba hiki kitabu kitabadilisha maisha yako. Nilikuwa naongea na mchungaji rafiki yangu, akaniambia nilisoma hicho kitabu, sasa ninafundisha watu wangu kupitia ujuzi, maarifa, hekima ambayo nilipata kwa hiki kitabu. Kwa hivyo unaweza pia nunulia watu wengine, na akaniambia alinunulia hata viongozi wake, na wamekuwa wakisoma, wakaweka kwa library yao, wanasoma hiki kitabu. Sina mashaka, nina uhakika itabadilisha maisha yako na utabarikiwa. Tuma message ama upige simu kwa hiyo namba, na tutaweza kuwasiliana na wewe, na utapata hiki kitabu, utatumiwa, usome na ubariki pia watu wengine. Asante. Mungu akubariki unaposoma 7 Keys to Success, and you will succeed. Thank you.
Hello there, my name is Enoch. Taking care of your health should be a top priority. Looking at the various engagements that we have today, it is so easy to forget about our health, mental well-being. That is why we introduce to you the Healthy You Talk Show, a brand new show that is going to address matters concerning your health, nutrition, stress management, mental health, name it. We bring to you a wide range of experts who are going to be touching pertinent issues concerning our health. Tune in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. live on Faith Today TV.
Welcome once again to Kingdom Business Network. We have been discussing about retirement, and we had a very interesting segment in the first section, and I believe that you are sending your questions now that Tony is going to address. Tony, I've just been remembering a story in the Bible. There's this man who had barns. You know the story. And he pulled them down, he built bigger ones, and he planned to have a good time, eat and make merry. Was that man planning for retirement? And what was his sin? Because that night God killed him.
You know, there, like we have said, you need to look long into the future. And we've also highlighted the things that you can do with your money. So being able to have some. And we even have, similarly, the biblical story on the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years where there was no harvest. This was in Egypt. So we are looking at our situation now where we are earning money as the 7 years of plenty. What will happen when we find ourselves in a situation where there is another 7 years where there is no harvest? The money that we have put in our storage or in our granaries are the ones that, is what is going to support us at that point when there is no harvest. And even if you look at our traditional setups, each of the homes used to have a granary where even our forefathers knew that during the month of plenty, you dry this thing and store it, so that when you've already harvested, you can progressively rely on what is in storage and survive on that. So I think the sin that he committed was that he may have burnt his granary and found himself in a situation where now there's nothing to live on. Yes, and that is why he was being punished.
Okay.
Yes.
Victoriana, what's your take on this?
For me, I have a question. You talked about now for the people who are self-employed or the informal sector, they have an option of now saving towards retirement in an individual pension plan, which got me thinking, can't I decide to just take that 10,000, using the example of the 10,000, and be putting it in an MMF as opposed to an individual pension plan? As in, what is the advantage of going through an individual pension plan as opposed to saving in other channels for retirement specifically?
That's actually a very, very relevant question, given what we are discussing today. Because the reality is, you can still do your investment on your own. The challenge we have as individuals is that we have our weaknesses. That one day you'll be shown your statement and you are seeing 5 million there. And as you're in a matatu, you are driving past that car yard on the highway there, and you are seeing a nice shiny vehicle there. What will prevent you from withdrawing this money from your investment fund and buying that vehicle? Nothing. So when you put your money in a retirement fund, there are certain rules and regulations that are laid out with regards to helping you achieve a retirement income objective. So the objective is far into the future. It's not just about having an investment fund. So the diligence, the discipline, and all that needs to align to that to enable you achieve the retirement income you're looking at is better met through a retirement benefit scheme than in your own investment. So you have the rules that are stipulated there that will tell you how you can put your money in, and they will tell you how you can pull your money out. Which even brings me to a session I remember once we had, and this was one of my clients that we had gone to attend their member AGM. Every pension scheme is expected to have an annual general meeting for their members, where they present the audited accounts, they present the investment return, and they then engage the members in what would be called an education or information session. The members are also entitled to an annual statement. And there was one gentleman in this session who said he wants to leave the pension scheme. He said, hii 10,000 munatukata, hii ni pesa mingi sana, nataka hiyo pesa ikuje kwangu. But there was something that this gentleman was not seeing that his employer was doing for him.
Topping up.
The employer was topping up, and the employer was creating an element of discipline which he would not be able to do on his own. So in addition to the many other benefits that the pension scheme was giving him, some of them are, tax breaks and all the diligence and discipline that comes with the deduction and remittance of the contributions to the pension scheme, if he was given a chance to do this thing himself, even myself, if I was to try and exercise that discipline of moving money every month on a specific date to a retirement fund, it calls for a lot of discipline. So some of these things that you can get deducted from source, either through a direct debit on your account or from your payslip, work for you in the long run. So when you look at your statement, you can see January to December, there are 12 contributions. You don't start seeing gaps. So this discipline and diligence that goes towards that objective of retirement is better met as a member of a retirement benefit scheme.
Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to retirement benefit schemes, maybe you can tell the viewer, how do they work? How do they invest the money? How do they add value to you? What are the advantages? What are the tax benefits of retirement benefit schemes?
Yes. So a retirement benefit scheme works in the way that you have money coming in as contributions. We assume that that money is coming every month. And then this money is put into a pot. And this pot is invested by the professional investment manager, or what is referred to as the fund manager of the scheme. And the fund manager is giving guidance or guidelines to the person who's mandated to hold the money. This is a bank, who is called a custodian. So when the employer deducts money from the payslip, they send this money to the custodian. So the fund manager doesn't actually touch the money. They just tell the custodian, move so much money into this asset, move so much into this investment. And then the custodian then maintains a schedule of the assets that the money have been put in. And the schedule that the custodian has should tally with the schedule that the investment manager has. So the investment manager has the wisdom to guide on where the money is going, and the custodian is the one holding the actual documents of title. So if the fund manager says, buy this asset, there's a document that will come with the name of the retirement scheme. That document is held by the custodian. So we've talked about a custodian, we've talked about a fund manager. There is also an administrator who then keeps the member records and then shows how much each member has. And at the end of the year, you have an auditor who comes in to audit and check that the scheme is operating in accordance to the requirements of the regulator, and ultimately to the requirements and expectations of the members. And the auditor will then, in collaboration with the investment manager, guide the administrator on how to allocate the investment returns that were earned for the year. So you have your contributions, and then at the end of the year, there is a return. So you'll roll up your contributions, say this is the total. So if we had 10,000, it will be 120K contribution, and then the investment return. So at the end of the year, you'll have 120 plus your investment return, which then gives you your member closing balance. That member closing balance at the end of the year then becomes your opening balance in the next year.
Yes.
So you have the administrator holding the member records showing the total member balances. This total member balance should also tally with what the custodian and the fund manager and the auditor are having. So you have this team of professionals working in collaboration to ensure that, yes, we are in congruence or we are in consonance in everything that we are saying with regard to the member balances and the assets that their contributions have been put into. So that's broadly how the scheme works. Then the leadership of the scheme is a board of trustees. So a board of trustees comes in on the basis that they are going to handle other people's money with more diligence that they will handle their own money. This is what is called a fiduciary responsibility, that you've been given other people's money to take care of, so you'll take better care of it than your own money. So between the trustees and your various scheme professionals, you then have the members' interests being catered for, and happening over the long term, the member is then able to come at the end of their duration of working and say, this is the money that I have saved up, how can I access it to then secure an income in my retirement? So that's broadly how pension schemes work.
And I think I'm also hearing you say that once this money is in a fund and it's invested, it could be in bonds, money market funds, whatever the fund manager decides, it is supposed to be earning an interest, and that is distributed to members.
So when you talk about interest, it's interesting because we have our Muslim brothers and sisters who have something called haram. And on the basis of religious expectations, they are not allowed to earn interest. So they earn what they call an investment return. So this investment return is out of some activity that their funds will be put to. So even within the pension industry, there are pension funds that have been designed to cater for these different requirements. And we've seen instances where one of them retires and asks for a separation, now using the 22 million example, that the 3.6 is what religion allows him or her to take as a retirement income or to secure their retirement income. And the remaining amount, which is the bigger portion, they're expected to give away to charity because it was haram. So some of these subtleties then come through, and is why the innovation in the market is enabling people to set up pension funds that cater for various religious expectations. Yes.
Now, some questions from the viewers, and there are quite many, and thank you very much for engaging with us. We'll try and address as many as we can. Somebody is asking, what's the best way to prepare for medical bills nikizeeka?
That's a very, very important question.
Yes.
Because, and I'm grateful for whoever has asked that question, because we didn't talk about it explicitly earlier. We now have what are called post-retirement medical funds. And similarly to the way we described how you can save for your retirement income, you can also save for your medical expenses in retirement. And naturally, as you age, the expectation is that your medical costs are likely to increase. So it would be unfortunate if you get to the point in retirement and then you don't have the money required to support your medical requirements. So today in the market, we have post-retirement medical funds available, and you can actively work towards putting aside some money that will help you cater for your health expenses in retirement.
Hello, Tony. In my 50s, am I still late to save? Please help with a plan. And I can join that with another question from Jacob. Jacob is saying, I'm 45 years old and work in a bank. I want to retire at 60. Can you suggest a good plan to reach my goal?
I like the questions they're asking because they are real. These are very real. You can actually feel an emotion, and you can see a person at the back of that question. What I would like to share with our brothers or sisters is that you can picture a situation where 1 million shillings that you've saved up for retirement is going to convert to the equivalent of 10,000 shillings per month, give or take, as a monthly income for each million that you've saved up. So if you have 10 million, it will be 100,000 shillings per month. And you can now do the mathematics around that on how much you feel would be an ideal retirement or income for you, and work towards achieving that goal. Yes.
Johnny from Dandora, that should be Dandora. Yeah. Ni gari namba ngapi? Inaenda Dandora. Okay, now each time I try to save, I spend with emergencies. How do I save for retirement?
And we go back to Victoriana's question. Why should I save in a retirement fund and not just say in a money market fund? So with our brother from Dandora, if his money was in a retirement benefit scheme, he would not be able to access it because he has an emergency. There are certain access limitations that have been pegged onto your retirement savings. Yes. So I would highly recommend for him to get an individual pension plan. He can check on the RBA website and choose which of the providers he wants, and then engage with them, and he will know that this money is working towards an objective of an income in retirement, so he cannot just go and access it. Pesa ni yako ndio, lakini huwezi ingia tu unaenda unaichukua. Yes, they will put certain hurdles for him and keep reminding him that this is money for your old age and not for emergencies now. So the other thing that I hear him saying is he needs to separate his opportunity fund, his retirement, his investment, and his emergency funds. So what he could then do is also set up a money market fund account that will cater for his opportunity, emergency, and other investment needs on top of the retirement savings. Yes.
I'm just wondering, kuna kitu inaitwa spirit ya emergency na tunaweza ikemea instead of planning.
So I think when we started the session we said inabidi watu wajipange. Kwa sababu ukikosa kujipanga utapangwa. And part of what we are talking about in Eeney, Meeney, Money and More, an entire chapter has been dedicated to planning, financial planning. Another entire chapter has been dedicated to budgeting. So these are some of the subtle things that we need to do on an ongoing basis. It's a continuous thing. You don't just do it in January and then, you forget about it. So please get yourself a copy of Eeney, Meeney, Money and More, and a lot of the challenges that you appear to be having will be addressed. You'll be able to develop a philosophy around not being too worried that you have money somewhere and you're not able to spend it, because some of us have a proclivity to spend. What we are saying, for 2 days you have money and you just want to spend.
Okay.
Yes.
So tuachane na spirits to plan. Sawa. Nimeshika hiyo. Now, honestly, saving for 30 years plus feels impossible. Are there retirement strategies for people who don't want to wait that long? Shortcuts.
I'm trying to figure out how to best
look for a shortcut utupatie. Sitaki kukaa sana. Nowadays we are living in a microwave age.
Yes.
Nataka saa hii na kama sio leo ni sasa hivi.
Sasa hivi.
Yes. So give us a shortcut.
In the investment game, I don't think we have some of those things. And in instances where you'll be having an offer for inordinately high returns, there is what we call the risk and return balance. So the higher the risk, the higher the return, and vice versa. The higher the return, the higher the risk. So we have also been talking about your investment pie. What assets are you putting your money in? So it also helps to think very long term. And as we had said, each million that you have will give you an approximate 10,000 shillings per month in a retirement income. So he can also work towards that. There is something that has also been presented here in the chapter on retirement. And I call it the Eeney, Meeney, Money and More drawdown formula. Where this 20 million that, the 22 million that we have accumulated, if you withdraw 2% of the capital amount, which is 2% of the 22 million, and 10% of the 10% that you'll be earning every year. If you start doing that when you're 60, by the time you're 70, this 22 million account will now have 43 million. I don't know if I've said something.
You have. Actually, just to summarize what you have said, Chris is asking you,
Yes.
what percentage of my income should I save for retirement if I start in my 30?
So what we are saying essentially is that you are saving 70% or aiming to save 70%.
70 is the aim.
Is the aim.
Okay.
That's our desired savings rate or investment rate. The question is, have you already started doing something?
So if I may ask, the
Yes.
70%
Yes.
is you to save and invest is for investment. So that is inclusive of the retirement amount percentage.
Yes.
So do you want to separate between the retirement percentage and the other, or you want to put it just 70 to include all?
Which is where we are coming.
Uh-huh.
So part of this 70 is your retirement savings.
Okay. What
Yeah.
percentage will roughly make sense?
We are in agreement on that. So as we were saying, the question is, has he already started doing some investment? And beginning is usually the most difficult part of this process. We find sometimes we have very deep debts, and we are struggling to even just balance debt payments.
Yes.
If you're in that state, what we are recommending is find an expense that is equal to only 1%, 1% of your income. And say, if my income was 20,000, for example, 1% of 20,000 is what? 200? Start with 200 and then monitor this thing. And if 200 presents itself as something that is too easy, try 10%. And progressively graduate from 1 year to the next until you get to 70%. So as you work towards this holistic 70%, you will have been able to encompass your retirement contribution savings in there. So if he can start with 10% or 20% for his retirement savings, that would be a good start for him as he travels on the journey of retirement.
Wonderful. That answers my next caller who had said, if you earn small money, can you still retire well? I believe you've answered that.
Yes. Someone
known as Meeney Kamau on YouTube is saying, watching from Kasarani and loving the conversation. Thank you very much, Meeney. Someone is saying, I'm Jane. Is it better to invest or save for retirement? I think you've answered that. Then there's an interesting one. Someone saying, me, I want to save for retirement, but I don't have much money. How do I start? I think you've also answered that. There's someone asking here, hi KBN, how do I trust a pension plan won't collapse before I retire? Kitu inaweza anguka bwana. Kabla nitoe pesa zangu.
So there is the genuine fear, you know, that if my money is out of sight, somebody might do something bad with it or something bad to it. What we are saying here is that the RBA is there to give you confidence that they are providing an oversight and regulatory role. So from the listed retirement funds, you can choose one. And even from those that are listed, do a little more homework. Find out who they are, who their directors are, and then see which of them resonates with how you operate, your personal philosophies, and what you want to achieve. And once you've identified one, then start contributing. And you can even have more than one. You can put half here, so that you spread your risk.
Okay.
And even over and above that, you can still also do your personal investments as you work towards your 70% in other personal investments. Yeah.
We don't have time, but I want just to you to give me a very short answer to this. Naitwa Kim kutoka Udheru. Nataka kujua what biggest mistake people make wakiplan for retirement, ndio tuweze avoid it. Shukran.
One thing we normally do, especially when you're changing jobs, you have the opportunity to go and withdraw,
yes,
or tap into that pot. So one of the things people do is you tap into this pot on something that had already started growing, and then you deflate it again. So when you start saving again, you're playing catch up on something that you should not have touched. The other thing is people saying nitaanza kesho. And we had said procrastination is stealing time and money from you. So please don't procrastinate. And whatever you've already saved up for retirement, please don't touch it. Allow it more time to grow. Yes.
Thank you very much, Tony. This has been an eye-opener for many of the viewers. I believe that the questions you had have been answered in one way or another. Keep tuned to KBN. We'll bring you very exciting and interesting business discussions that are geared to help you. Victoriana, what's your parting shots?
Yes, thank you so much, Tony, for the insights, and even Dr. Mungai. To our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Clearly, retirement is inevitable. You can't escape it, and we clearly need to plan. If you've not yet started, then this is your time to begin. Don't procrastinate, as you've been told. Start small and keep growing until you get to the 70%, and be able to do those things that you always want to do when you're no longer able to go back to work. So keep it locked on KBN. Keep sharing. Remember to like. Remember to subscribe on our YouTube channel. And remember to tune in next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoriana. Tony, what's your parting shot? You can also talk about the book as we close.
Oh, yes. The parting shot is that we should not procrastinate and wait for when we have a better income to start doing these things. A lot of what we've discussed, actually the entire content that we've been discussing, is in this book. It's available from the Nuria bookstore. It is also available from tonyolang.com. And for those who are watching us from overseas, you can also get a copy from Amazon, both in hard case, paperback, and Kindle. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure being with you.
Thank you once again, Tony, and thank you very much, viewer, for watching and staying tuned up to this extent. Please, if you have not liked us on YouTube, please go to Faith Today Television and subscribe, and you will help us to get the message across. Until next time, may God bless you very much. Thank you.